Hi, thanks for joining us again. Today I want to talk about layouts. Now, yesterday we talked about the workbooks and how you can save your analysis in workbooks, but when you create lots and lots of charts and maybe as part of your job you've got to cover lots and lots of securities, it can sometimes be really hard to find the analysis that you're looking for. So Optuma's created layouts to help with that. Let's jump straight into the software here. What I'm going to do this time is open up a watch list first. So let's come in here, we'll go new watch list. And then what I want to do is I want to link this to a list. Now, Optuma has symbol lists. We provide that as one of our data selections. You may have it, you may not. But what it is the list of tickers which are members of an index. So the stocks that make up the S&P 500 or the ASX 200, all of those are available in Optuma. You just got to select them as a data selection. Our support desk can help with that if you need to change that. But when we do this, so let's come along here. We're going to change our list here. I'm just going to use the Dow Jones Industrial Average. It's a nice short group to use as an example here. So we've got those stocks there and Optuma brings it in. What we can do is I can double click on a chart and we can open that up. Let's just change that to a candlestick chart and we can see that chart here. Now let's just say that I want to do analysis on these. This is my coverage. I'm doing US very large cap and I'm working with these companies here. I can come along and I can say, right, let's just do a moving average of that, and maybe I'm going to do an RSI and put that in there. Let's say change this to 14 period. Going up, not down. So we go to a 14 period RSI and I'm looking at these charts with this analysis, and perhaps even I'm going to do some trendline analysis. So I can do TL as a shortcut for trendline, and we can look at this, and I'm not going to do correct trendline analysis there, but let's just say we put these tools in and we want to work with these. I can do all of this work, but then the moment that I go to another security, let's say I want to find something in the same price range, we can go to the next security, but you see that my RSI worked and my moving average worked, but my trend line didn't. It doesn't really make sense to have a trend line from, I think what we were on AXP, and have that working at the same one here on Chevron. They just don't make sense. So this is, again, part of the reason that we created layouts. It's just another way of working within Optuma. So let's go back to AXP here, and we've got our trend line there. And so what I can use is what we call layouts in Optuma. Now, by default, when you look at the top here, you can see that we've got a one-day candlestick chart. It's priced in US dollars and there is no layout. All of these items we can click on. We can change here our chart style. We can change our time frame. We can change the currency. If we want to see this currency in this chart in a different currency, we can do that. Particularly if you're trading US stocks from another jurisdiction, really important to look at those charts in your currency, because how much you profit, etc., is going to be very much determined by what happens to the currency as well. But in this case, we can go to the layouts, and it says no layout at the moment, but we can click on that and we can just say, look, I'm just going to add a layout called default. So I type that in, hit enter, and now it says that it's my default layout. Now when I go to Chevron and I click on that chart, you can see that I'm seeing my moving average, I'm seeing my RSI, but I'm not seeing that trend line anymore. That's because layouts is smart enough to know the difference between an indicator which applies to every chart, or an indicator which has been specifically placed, like a trend line or a Gann fan or anything like that. Those specific tools don't go across from code to code because they don't make any sense. But the tools that do, they will go across. So we can have this here. We've got American Express, we can do Chevron, we can say, right, let's create a trend line that works for Chevron. And that may be a different one. And so when I swap between these codes, I'm going to see, hang on, American Express, not Boeing. Let's click on that. I'm going to see the trend lines that I added to that chart. So we can have multiple layouts as well. So for instance, I may have a layout here, which is my default layout, but maybe there's a difference in the analysis that I do for my own research and then the analysis that I would put on a chart book that I send off to clients. And so you can do that as well by having multiples. For instance, I can come along here and say, right, let's just remove this layout for the moment. I don't want to see that layout there. I'm back to a straight chart. And now I can say, hey, I'm going to do some Gann analysis. And what I want to do is look at this chart, and from a major turning point back here, I want to add my Gann fan and do that from here. So we're just going to quickly put this on and throw that on the chart there. And maybe what we do is another one from this high here, because with Gann analysis, it's usually the points of intersection which are the most interesting. And so I can do this analysis and I can say, yeah, this is interesting points here where we're looking at the market and seeing things happening. And so we get these support and resistance lines based on geometry. Fascinating area, but you can see what we've done. So again, I've done this analysis. It's stored with my American Express chart in the Gann layout. But if I switch back to default, now I'm back to a layout which maybe I'm happy to send to clients, etc. So you can organize your work in different ways like that. The great thing about these layouts is that I can also access them at any time. I don't even need to save my workbook because the analysis now is saved with the code, with the ticker. So for instance, I can come along here and I can close this workbook without saving it. We'll just discard it. And then let's just say I see something on the news about American Express, or a client asks me about American Express and what are my opinions on it. I don't have to go hunting in a workbook anymore. What I can do is just double click on the background. That's again my shortcut for opening up a chart. And I can say, right, let's just open up American Express. We need to get that from US equities here. And then I can come along and say, right, what layouts do I have? And you'll see that Optuma is even giving me little thumbnails of the different layouts I've used before on this security. So I can say, right, let me look at my Gann analysis. Okay, I'm seeing something there. We're bouncing around, a little bit of resistance maybe. We've closed above it, but I'm just sort of watching that, and maybe at the next level I'm looking at is here. Or I can come along and look at my default layout, and maybe I want to create a chart of this, and I can say, right, let's just shape this up a little bit, and I can right click on that and I can send that chart to the clipboard as an image or an image file, or I can send it through to Outlook, PowerPoint, all sorts of things. Now, what you see there again may depend on whether you have the publishing module, but I can send this to clipboard and I can send it off to my client. Lots of different ways that we can do that. And again, the most important thing is I can access my analysis without remembering what workbook it's in and without trying to find it in there as well. So very handy to use layouts. Now, maybe there's a layout which is the default way that you want charts to always open. From the settings menu, we can come down to workspace and charts. And then from here, we can say new charts open. And at the moment, there's no layout, but I can choose a layout here. So for instance, I can say my default layout, and then any chart I open is going to open with that layout. So I can come along here and let's just say, right, I want to open up Microsoft. We'll do Microsoft here. And now you can see it's opening with that moving average, with that RSI already applied. So it may save time if there's a distinct way that you always open charts. You can set it up that way. All right, thank you so much again for watching, and we'll continue on next time. Thank you.